Alrighty, for today's lesson, we are going to talk about the biosphere. When we talk about the biosphere, we are talking about life, okay? What does it mean to be alive? Right here, I have a mystical unicorn. Eee! Is this alive? Well, you would probably assume that it's alive. It's going to run around and it's going to prance and it's going to have magical powers. But what are the exact characteristics of life? When we think about any living thing, any living organism, what does it mean to be alive? Well, when we talk about the characteristics of life, the first one is cells. Okay, cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life. Every living thing has one cell or maybe even multiple cells. Some of the biggest cells on Earth are eggs, like ostrich eggs, big, 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 giant eggs. Some organisms are made of only one teeny, teeny, tiny cell. Inside of these cells are our organelles. Organelles are going to have jobs like capturing sunlight, for photosynthesis or for creating usable energy or even helping the cell to move around or to move its genetic information. And that genetic information is also another characteristic of life. All living things are going to grow and they're all going to reproduce. And growth and reproduction are all brought to you by DNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid, and typically when we think of DNA, we think of this nice long double helix, and this is going to be found inside of cells. Not all organisms are going to have DNA. Some of them may have just a simpler form called RNA, which is ribonucleic acid, which is just a tiny little single strand. Okay, so all living things have cells. They all grow. They change. They are going to start one way, end up another way through some kind of a life cycle, and they have to reproduce. They have to make more of themselves. They reproduce with DNA. Also, all living things have a need for energy. Okay, if you remember, energy is the ability to do work when we talk about it, in a physical stance. And basically, organisms, living things, are going to have the ability to do work, to grow, to reproduce, to replace their cells, to move around, whatever they need to do. Almost all energy for life starts with the sun. It starts with the sun, it's captured by plants and other little producers in photosynthesis, and then we turn it into a usable source called ATP. We'll talk about that later, adenosine triphosphate. But that's the energy currency of the cell. That's what we're gonna move from one cell to another, from one area, from one organism to another, by transferring and moving of energy, and specifically in the form of ATP. All right. All organisms have to respond to the environment. Respond, or is that spelled right? To environment. Okay, so what that means is, well, if we have, our unicorn friend here and it gets too sunny, unicorn friend goes and hides. Or if it gets dark, he is going to go into his little magical cave. Or if some other creature is trying to capture and eat him, he's going to run away. He has to maintain homeostasis by responding to the environment. Okay, when you shiver, when you're cold, or when you eat too much candy or junk food, and you throw up, you're responding to the environment. So all of these characteristics: growth, reproduction by using DNA, the need for energy, specifically how does an organism capture energy from the sun, and how do they build usable ATP out of it. We'll talk all about photosynthesis and cellular respiration with all this. And response to the environment. Okay, need for energy, reproduction, growth, cells, response to the environment. All of these are very important when describing living things. Now, we have to have all of these things. It's not just, well, it has cells, so it's alive. No. Or it needs energy, so it's alive. It has to have all of these, okay? For example, if we look at a lighter. We look at this source of this little flame. Okay, is it going to respond to the environment? Sure. It went out. Does it need energy? Yeah, it has fuel down in here that's going to help it to burn. But does it have cells? No, definitely not. Okay, it may grow, it may get bigger, but it doesn't have cells, respond to the environment, growth, reproduction, and need for energy. All of these components are going to describe life. All of these working together.